Hi, I'm Andy Young. I'm one of the lecturers down at Unitec in Auckland, New Zealand, and I teach automotive. And I like to put a few videos together from time to time onto the YouTube channel as well to help my students to see me in a working environment and to try and cover some of the things that we cover during the course, but all the other stuff that we don't cover during the course. We just don't have time to show them everything, unfortunately. Now today we're continuing with the Yamaha Viking work. The engine's in, it's pretty much ready to start up, but it's in for a service as well, full service. So we've got the air filter that's taken out, and we need to remove the elements. Now on one of these Yamaha Vikings, and the same goes for the Rhinos, I believe, remember rightly, we've got to remove this foam filter. Now there's an easy way and a hard way. The hard way is to try and stretch it over the plastic housing. The easy way is to press these two little tines here, and at the same time just pull that end cap off. That's going to give you access now to slide that foam filter off really easily. And it is important that you clean these properly. These vehicles tend to operate in pretty rough conditions, pretty harsh, dusty, grimy, oily conditions. So there's the filter element, and this this technique applies to pretty much any quad bike that's got this kind of foam filter. Quad bikes, dirt bikes, trail bikes, most motorcycles, ATVs, all that kind of stuff, these ride-in ones. So you get the filter. This is a very large filter, by the way, so it takes a bit of cleaning. And you need some cleaning material. Sorry, some cleaning fluid. Now you can use, what have we got here? Air filter cleaner. You can get it in an aerosol can, you spray it on, you work it in, and it cleans the filter. I prefer to use a liquid, and I've got some petrol down here, very dangerous I know, but I've got a bit of petrol in a metal tray, and I'm going to move the camera for you shortly, and you can watch to see how I clean this. One of the benefits of using a fluid is at the end of it you can see all the dirt and grime that you've removed from that filter. And if you've done this before yourself and you ride quad bikes on the sand, you'll know just how much crap basically these filters stop getting into your bike, into your engine. I've seen also customers have brought bikes in where they've taken these filters out and they've run the bikes without an air filter. Crazy. The amount of damage that's going to cause to your cylinder is just horrific in that kind of environment. Sure, on the old BSAs and stuff that used to run them without air filters on the road, but no, not off-road, definitely not. Okay, so we've got the tray of cleaning fluid, and we're just going to lay that filter in there. I might need to top it up because it is a huge filter. Yeah, let's put some more in there. It is just petrol. Petrol is extremely cheap in comparison to using other stuff. Obviously you've got to make sure that there's no naked flames around, and of course make sure that you've got all the protective gear that you need. Now, yeah, I should be wearing eye protection. In fact, I am wearing eye protection, you just can't see. There you go. So you just work it into the filter. Remember, this is a foam filter. It's quite delicate. You don't want to be wringing it out like a rag. But already we can start to see some of the grime that's coming out of that filter. Pretty horrendous. I've seen a lot worse than this. On some of the quad bikes we used to run in England, these filters used to come out and they were basically just baked dry with dirt, and the bikes just wouldn't run. There was no air would get through at all. So there you go. Didn't take long, that one. And you can see there with that's probably water actually that's down the bottom, because water's heavier than petrol. and there's quite a lot of dirt in there as well. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Now what you need to do now, we'll give it one final wring out, but you need to leave it to dry. You've got to let the air get to that and allow all that petrol to evaporate away before you add the oil. So I'll go and hang this up outside. We'll let it dry off in the wind, it shouldn't take too long. And then we'll come back and we'll be using some spray-on filter oil, partly because it's a bit quicker. There are other filter oils around. In fact, no, we may use this stuff actually. We'll use the Yamaha stuff. I'll clean the tray out, we'll pour this in the tray, and I'll show you how to use that stuff. This is a lot, in my opinion, better than the spray-on stuff. You get a more consistent, a more even filling of the foam with the fluid. When you're spraying it on, you tend to miss bits, you know. Right, about half an hour later, the air filter, the element is nice and dry, so we can, I've cleaned out the tray. We can put some fluid in there, put plenty in. Whatever you don't use, you can drain back into the bottle again, use for next time. Just going to move that camera down. You won't be able to see me anymore, but that's okay. So, one filter, just like you did with the cleaning fluid, you just got to run it in there. Make sure that the whole filter has the fluid in it. It's completely submerged. And it's this oil that captures the really fine particles of dust and dirt that's airborne when the air is sucked into the engine. And it's surprising how much these things can clean the air. If you've got a vehicle like this that's operating in a really harsh, dusty environment, you can put a pre-cleaner on as well, just like they do with the big trucks and the plant equipment. And that helps to save the filter. It uses like a vortex, you know, so it spins the air around and the particles get thrown outwards. My old Daihatsu F55 used to have one of those. Very cool. Okay, so now the whole filter is full of fluid. It's quite sticky stuff, so you really do need to wear gloves. But now we need to wring some of that out. There's too much in there, and if you were to put that filter in the vehicle like that, she probably won't start. And if it does, it's going to run really, really rich. You don't want to wring all of it out, that's not the idea. But you do need an even coating of that fluid all over that filter. There we go. Okay, so we've got a little bit left. We've used quite a lot actually. Surprising how much you get through. So we'll just stand that up for a second. Your gloves a bit of a wipe down, and then we can refit that filter onto the element. Oh, there goes the gloves. Right. Okay. Now with these, it's important that you make sure that the filter is fitted correctly under these tabs. not, and it doesn't butt against the end, then you've got potential for a leak and air bypass. Which means it's going to bypass the air filter and you're going to get dirty air going into the engine. One thing that you can do, and I'll show you on the far end, you can put a smear of grease around the end of the filter here, which then seals against there. So I'll do that as an example for you on this end. So just get your grease. And that's common practice on off-road vehicles, just to put some grease around here. So if you're operating in a really harsh environment, then you can do that. So I'll pull the filter off, I'll flip it over, and then we'll grease the other end. There we go, back under those tabs again. Be very careful, you don't want to put any rips in the filter. There you go. So we can grease this end. It's a real messy job. A lot of enduro riders and stuff have a number of filters, and they do a few at a time. Just saves getting blathered up so often. The whole idea of an air filter is to keep the dirt out, and we've got to give it the best possible chance. So if your bike's just been serviced by a dealer and it's got a foam air filter, and you take it out and it hasn't been greased around the sealing edges, then they haven't done a very good job. Fact. Okay. Right, all that's left now is to pop that back on again. And again, we need to make sure that the filter is inboard of that lip. Cool. Okay. So that's now ready to refit back into the vehicle, and that is the air filter element on the Yamaha Viking, serviced, cleaned, dried and fresh oil applied, and that should be done whenever you're doing a major service. I mean, the more harsh the environment that the vehicle operates, the more frequently you have to do this. Let's face it, the more dirt that ends up in the air filter, the richer the vehicle is going to run. It won't perform quite as well. It can be down on power, and it's going to use a lot more fuel, so it's going to cost you in the end. So you should check the air filter on a regular basis. If it looks a bit dirty, you should do this to it. Okay, there you go, a quick tip, short video. Hope you found it helpful. My name is Andy Young. I'm one of the lecturers down at Unitec in Auckland, one of the automotive lecturers there, and I do these videos to help my students and to give them some additional practice, knowledge, information, call it what you like, about real world practices. Cars don't really have these kind of filters, so most of my students will never come across one of these. Most of them do, you know, we teach cars predominantly, and this isn't car stuff, this is motorcycle and ATV stuff. So it's good to help them to see that there are alternatives to a car type paper air filter element. Okay, thanks for watching. Hope you found it helpful. Over and out.